where we play every video game in order of release. We don't shy away from consoles, computers, handhelds, or arcade. We play it all. Starting all the way back in 1971, and we are in December 1982. If you're thinking of a video game, we probably have played it or seen it. Sometimes there's games that we're not able to play, emulate ourselves, so we showcase as many games as possible. And we're now starting to go back and make sure no game is left behind. Howdy, Brad. Welcome to the show. It is a live show. I am really here, and I am not AI generated. I guess right now we can talk like it's 2025 when the release of this live show is, but I like to go back and pretend we have no idea what the future is, and we play these games based on what was available at the time or what was possible. As we go further and further, it feels like I'm getting more spoiled, though, because nobody was able to play everything on all these computers and everything on all in the arcade and everything on all home consoles. And now that we're going through and seeing everything, I feel like my ratings are going to get lower, where I'll come across someone else's favorite game and just say, we've seen plenty of games like this, just because we see so much. There's a lot of games out there. And now that we're doing the backlog where we're trying to make sure no game's left behind, we're even including computers or systems that I didn't even think were even possible. Then most of them, they're really not possible. So we just do a showcase, give you an example or a video that someone else has posted of what the game is to give us an understanding compared to everything else that's out there. Because there's plenty of games that either you're not able to play or they break. That's even more popular. That's right, Brad. We also see a lot of bad, a lot of games that no one expected. We even see some games like type-in games. Most people didn't expect me to type in, well, not really type them in, but see type-in games and play games that you get from magazines or books or journals. And even, it's interesting seeing everyone's version of what constitutes a video game. I mean, we went so far back in 1971 that some of those games people could argue were not video games, and some could argue they weren't. They were mechanical games, and then of course you have people who only consider commercial games real games, and the type-in games don't count or shouldn't be in the same category as the other games. Well, maybe we'll open it up on Discord where people can vote on more categories, or we break it up. But as of right now, I feel like we got a pretty good formula, and everyone is understanding of what the rating system's like, as if you were in December 1982, and everything you've seen up to this point, or at least from our previous videos, how you would rate the game if you had it in your hands based on everything else that's available out there. There's so much out there. There's one that's been really fun, the handheld, Nintendo's Game & Watch. I understand the appeal. I know and get it, why it's so good compared to all the other handhelds that are available out there. The handheld world, we don't see nearly as much just because not a lot of it's easy to emulate. So what I might do is people have posted on Discord the video of a trailer or a commercial for a handheld that is just hilarious, and maybe I'll just put the handheld there just for fun. The commercial sells it. So many good games out there. But we're having a blast and getting to see and play way more than I ever thought or knew about. And tonight we're going to see the origins of the Commodore 64. Way before the popularity hits. Welcome everyone, you're in the Chronologically Gaming pre-show. Right before we start the real live show. But we're running out of time for an open Q&A. Hello, Obsidian Arcade, welcome. I saw you jump in, I think last Tuesday, and surprised to see you as well. Hope you can hang out the whole time, and I hope you're on, because I'll give you a raid after this, if you're going for Twitch. Showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Ask your doctor if Chronologically Gaming is right for you, because we're playing an unhealthy amount of video games. It's time to get crazy in December 1982.
Boy, did he show us.
And we were last playing Monaco Grand Prix on the Arcadia 2001. Someone asked me if I'd rather play this or Math Grand Prix on the Atari 2600. And you know, now that I've thought about it, I still would rather play this than Math Grand Prix. That's how it is. All right, let's see what our next game is. It's now time to play on the Commodore 64. That's right, it is so new. We haven't played that many games for it. And this is Motor Mania. Let's check it out. Here's the box for Motor Mania. I already like the name. It sounds pretty cool. The box seems very avant-garde. I can tell it's trying to be a racing game, but it's trying to do something different as well. This one's only available for the Commodore 64, and it marks the 40th video game that we've seen so far for the Commodore 64. And being a show that tries to play every single video game, man, it just scares me that this is already 40 games, because I know how many games the Commodore 64 is going to have. It's way too many. 20,000, 30,000. It's just too many games, and they're still making games. They need to stop making games for the Commodore 64. Software 64 is, I think, the label that they used, but it's not an actual company that is Software 64. For use with their Commodore 64. What other artwork do we have for Motor Mania? Later, there's going to be a re-release. Exciting high-speed action-packed road racing games with realistic multiple hazards. And it looks like this, and it's way later because you can see at the top it says Commodore 128. That doesn't exist right now. But if you flip over that box, it shows you a screenshot, explains the game, and it shows the 5 1/4 floppy diskette to play. The later version is on disc. We're not playing that one. Oh no, it's December 1982. We're going to play this version on cassette tape. This is the Motor Mania we're going to check out. This one is done, oh, there's the advertisement flyer, by UMI, United Microware Industries. It's the 21st time we've seen this company bringing us games that Audiogenic has also done, and Audiogenic also released this, and it's the 17th time we've seen that company. They've both been bringing us games like Alien Blitz, Cosmic Kamikaze, Meteor Run, Cloudburst, Amok, and Spiders of Mars. All of the games that they've done so far have been on the Commodore VIC-20. This is the very first time that they have their foray into the Commodore 64. This is another later advertisement flyer. Most of the games that we play right here in December, they're going to get re-released in 83 and still early 80s. And this, you can see, are games that from France that we will see much later. There's the tape that we're going to pop into play, some Motor Mania. Here's the inside sleeve. So after you take out your cassette and you look at the inside sleeve, these are the instructions of how to play. You're about to embark on a thrilling cross-country car rally. Your car is tanked up and ready to go, but the journey is not ready to be easy. Your route takes you to Motorway B, road and dirt track sections, all full of danger. Other cars driven unpredictably by obvious drunken drivers? Really? They're going to tell us we're going to drive with drunken drivers? They'll try to obstruct us, and various road hazards will appear in your way. If you run off the road or hit any other vehicles, you will crash. And when you crash, you'll be given to another car from at the gas station. That's nice. The gas station gives us free cars. You're only allowed 5 cars, and you try to drive as many miles as possible. So this is not really a track racing game. It's more of how long can you last kind of game. The speedometer's there, odometer, fuel, generator, hot light, oil light. And the battery for the car means if you drive at full speed, your battery will be charged. But every time you drive slower, you're going to start getting weaker, which means the game is making you want to drive faster. We also have a spare tire, which is an orange dot under the odometer. The garage count is how many spare tires we have left. We have potholes on the road, broken glass, logs, avalanche, and then cross traffic. If the fuel is low, then we need to go in the gas station. So make sure you stop in, pull in the gas station, and fill her up. So over here on this side, it explains the controls. When you're ready to go, you press the fire button and your first car will take its starting position at the gas station. When you move the joystick forward, you accelerate, and it's almost like the joystick is a gear shifter because every time you tap the joystick, that's what moves you forward. And make sure the joystick is plugged into joystick port number 2, which Why? Why isn't joystick port number 1? We're going to see this a lot. All right, so which version do we want to play? The tape version. Let's pop in that tape and play some Motor Mania, released in the beginning of December 1982. I'm ready to hear some classic driving sounds on our system. There's a cracked copy, as you can see there, and there's the real one that we're looking for. This one is the very first time we've seen John A. Fitzpatrick. Way to go, John. Let's go. Much later, John Fitzpatrick is going to do games like Alice in Videoland, Zorro, and Superstar Sports Series, which will be on the Commodore 64. And he will also be the one who brings Bruce Lee. All on the these are all games for the Commodore 64. This is the very first time we've seen him, possibly his very first game. And I'm really excited because if he did Bruce Lee, this was going to be pretty good. All right, push a button. We start at the gas station. I'm going to just use my joystick. You look in the top right of the screen, and you can see that my gauge for speed. Oh, okay, you can just hold the joystick forward and then pull it back to brake. Got it. So the only button you have really doesn't do anything. We got to get going. So down at the bottom, we also had in the beginning the ability to choose game options, but they only meant by difficulty. So I'm starting at the easiest difficulty, where you see the counter going up 65, 66. If you change the difficulty, it actually increases the last number by 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you got a few different game options. I can barely hear the sound of the car is not super loud, and I have it cranked up a little bit, but just enough. All the difficulty does is adds more things in the road and cars. It just makes it really, really difficult. Wow. Already though, this is pretty fun, considering the other games that are like this. Right below my score, you can see the X's. That's telling us how many lives we have left, and then that circle, that's the spare tire. Keep going, full speed. Let's pass some cars now. Oh, this is And the way this is looking on the Commodore 64, while you can see the sprite of the car at the bottom is pretty simple, it actually is running pretty good. Yeah, there you go. Can you hear I can hear the crash, but even still, the other driving games we played for home computers, at this point, it's mostly a annoying hum of a vehicle, and you're not really going to get a cool experience like you would with a racing game in the arcade. So you get the idea. Motor Mania is a top-down driving game where the screen is going to scroll vertically the entire time as you drive your race car for as many miles as you can. You start at the gas station. You're able to control speed up to 80 miles per hour. You can brake, move left and right, and if you do slow down, you're going to have to fill up your lower your battery power, which is down at the very bottom of the screen, right above my shoulder. But there's lots of things that are going to be in the way. We have to avoid other drivers on the motorway. There's dirt you have to avoid. Hitting the sides will also crash you. And you have all these dials that are telling you about the road. Very, very impressive for right now. You can also have, man, I knew it was going to come, but I just crashed into it anyway. I love it, though, that it's on the Commodore 64. And it's showing the very small beginning. This is only the 40th game that we've seen on the Commodore 64. This is pretty good. To tell you the truth, some of the games we played for the Commodore 64 were not that impressive. Whenever you think of them porting games from the Commodore VIC-20 to the 64, it wasn't as good. This one's actually pretty good. Not that it's anything like a killer app, but it's a more impressive video game because this one's actually only on the Commodore 64. Audiogenic and UMI just said, we're not going to do this on the VIC-20. It's all Commodore 64 now. I wonder how many other companies are thinking that too. So the road hazards just kind of slow you down like that. You have all these obstacles in the way. Let's see if I slow down. What happens to my battery? I want to watch my battery go a little lower. You have road patches that'll slow you down, avalanches. If you hit a boulder, you'll crash into it. There's broken glass also. If you run over the broken glass, that's where the spare tire comes in, and it has to be changed. You only get one spare tire, so if you hit 2 patches of glass, that's it. You have to also keep your speed up. I don't see the speed. I'm not going super slow, but I don't see the generator lowering down. Let me speed up and see. No, it's all right. Yeah, so you can keep a normal speed without going 80 miles per hour, and it works all right. But then we have these really cool off-road sections here. Yeah, so controls, very simple to get. I'm surprised a car didn't come crash into me right there. This game is single player only. No multiplayer modes, no way to play with friends, no way to alternate and try to go for high scores unless, you do it by just passing the controller after you die. But score keeps going up. How long can you last? How far can you drive? Really, really cool idea. And better than we've seen for other top-down racing games in the arcades, which usually are time-based. How far can you get in a certain amount of time, or how many cars can you pass in a certain amount of time? This game marks the 129th racing or driving game we played so far on Chronologically Gaming. It's the 47th that we've seen on all home computers so far, and it's the 4th that we've seen on the Commodore 64. Head On by Computer Matt is on the Commodore 64 right now. Le Mans by HAL Laboratory and Night Driver by HAL Laboratory. The HAL Laboratory is on the Commodore 64 right now. Some other driving games that you could play on other home computers right now would be like Match Racer on the Atari home computer, Rally X or Radar Rat Race on the VIC-20, Formula One Racing that Sid Meier did on the Atari home computer. That one's very different than this. It's not a top-down vertical racer. There's also Cross Country Rally on the Apple II, Getaway on the Atari home computer, Rally on the TRS-80, Speedway Blast on the Atari home computer, and then another recent one, oh, he still got me, I can't believe it, was Baja Buggies that we saw on the Atari home computer. That one was one of the first times we saw a behind-the-view racing game. So it does offer difficulty levels, which is very nice. But essentially, this is a variant of Speed Race that we saw all the way back in the 70s. Monaco GP is in the arcade. That's a really popular one that we saw in 1979, ripping off Speed Race. Ooh, this one's really tight. I'm glad I slowed down. And then Bump and Jump or Burnin' Rubber is another more recent one that we saw. That's like this, top-down, vertical scrolling, kind of like Speed Race. There's also Grand Champion that we saw in the arcades that plays very similar to this. And then at home on the TRS-80, we played a game called Turbo 2000, which was pretty good just because there's not that many games that are playing like this on home computers. So already, because of all the racing we've seen so far, and because of how it's not super popular for home computers, oh, it got me. For something like this is pretty fun. This is a very good racing game. I'm looking over in the chat right now, and we already have some raters for if you were in December 1982, what would you give Motor Mania for all the games you could play on home computers? Now, the style, the genre of racing game that this is, I'm going to rate it a little higher because there's not that much that you can play like this. I see a 3-star, 3.5 from Paul. James is 3.5. Tisky. And then, oh, Brian's saying 4. 3.5 from Brian. So not a lot of play modes, but it is doing something very well for this style of game. And arcade, you can play lots of games like this, and home console has a few, but this is one of the best ones, like at home, to play a top-down racing game similar to Speed Race or Monaco GP. So I'm actually going to go 4 stars. Right now, of all the games you could play across all home computers, I think this is excellent. And the way that they're incorporating lots of elements on the road, that's even better than some of the things we've seen in the arcade. Now, granted, it's no pole position or turbo or anything like that, but it's still very, very well done. I got some more above averages. Did anyone give it just an average? I think only Paul said average, but everyone else said 3.5 at least, and there's 1.4 that's out there. All right, let's see what our next game is. Now it's time to stay in Europe. We were in Europe on that Commodore 64 game. This is the Philips Video Pack G7000, and we're going to play some Mousing Cat. Let's take a look at the box for the Mousing Cat, or Chat et Souris, if you're in French. This one's only for the Philips Video Pack G7000, or a little bit later next year, I think, on the G7400. This is the 46th game we've seen for this system, which is essentially the European version of the Magnavox Odyssey 2. Right now in North America, we've seen 42 games for the Magnavox Odyssey 2. This one is the 46th in Europe. Front of the box is ripping off Tom and Jerry a little bit. So this one is available in Europe or United Kingdom and France, and then later it's going to be in Brazil. This one is allowing us to play single player and multiplayer. So you don't have to have 2 people to be the mouse and the cat. They have the example of the screenshot in the top, and I'm already a little curious, and I'm already thinking it's going to be something we've already seen before by the look of it. There's the example of the cartridge. The video pack brought us the first cartridge with a handle. No more pesky slipping your fingers on the top. Just grab the handle and yank it out. You can see all the different game modes there. It shows you what to push on your little keyboard for the video pack. And there's the example of the screenshot. Very nice. I don't have a manual for this one. This one is really hard to find. Usually I can find at least a text manual, but no, we got nothing. All right, where you want to play? Europe or France? I guess we'll just do Europe in general right now. This is by Philips, published by Philips. I don't know exactly who made this one. This one is released in the beginning of December 1982. So it starts off by asking what is or who's playing this. How many players do you want? So you look down at your keyboard. You can do 2-player game if you have 2 joysticks plugged in, or we're going to do a 1-player game. So we actually can play with a computer. And then which game do you want to play? So it has different game variations. Mouse and Cat is another game about the conflict between felines and rodents. The game consists of 6 encounters in which the players alternate roles of cat and mouse, 3 times each. The winner is the player with the most points at the end of the series. When you look at the game options here, you're just picking which style of top-down view you want. So it's technically not like a level select. It's more of which variant of the game you want to play. So we're just going to go with variant 1 so you can see how it works. And then this is interesting. It's asking me to put my name in, which, why didn't more games do this? There's a few games we played on the video pack and the Odyssey 2. When you got a high score, you were able to put your name in so everyone could see your score on the screen. So that's cool. So we can start with my whole name. I can type it in. Just imagine. This keyboard reminds me of a speak and spell or type and spell game. There it is. Chrono. And then the player 2 is the computer, micro. So what skill level do you want? I hope skill level 1's easy. Let's try that one out. Push number 1. There we go. Nice. So I'm starting off. Chrono's blue, so I'm the blue cat. The point of the game is the computer right now, or the second player, is playing as the mouse. As the cat, all I'm supposed to do is I first try to run and catch the mouse like you think it's a tag game. But no, it doesn't work. The point of this game is you hold down the button on your joystick and you're supposed to draw grids like this. And once you capture the mouse in a grid, you win. And it gives us a cutscene of the cat eating the mouse. And now the role switches. Now I'm the mouse, and I got to get as many points as possible before the computer already trapped me. And he eats me up. So no matter what, the cutscene is always going to be the cat eating the mouse. Just how many points can you get before it ends? All right, let me capture this computer fast. Oh, there it is. Nice. So not quite what I was expecting. It's actually doing something a little different than video games we've seen before. All right, let's actually get some points. If you eat things long enough as the mouse, you'll supercharge. And when you supercharge, you get a little temporary invincibility. But you want to get as many points as you can. Eat as much cheese as you can. They're all in weird shapes. They look like ASCII characters that you're eating. And after you eat as much shapes, let's say you get more points. And so essentially, when you switch roles and you're the mouse, how many points can you get before the cat eventually catches you? It's inevitable. All right, so what does Mirko have? Oh, I need to capture. Just interesting idea. The walls that you get to build as the cat are a little temporary. Like, in other words, you can't just draw walls all the way across the map. If you look down at the bottom, it shows how many they have left. There's 40 there. All right, go, go, go. Oh, I mean, the AI went nuts. Look, it's in the corner. It broke. Oh, and the AI got dumb. So I guess you'd have more fun playing with a friend. And that's a good point, Charlie. We actually see, yes, look, eating dismemberment in 1982. The only player that's able to score in this game is the mouse. You eat the cheese that are scattered around the room, and then the player controlling the mouse has to press and hold the action button. The longer the button's pressed, the more you eat, and if the mouse eats for a certain amount of time, they'll grow bigger and become immune for a short period of time. The cat's running around trying to chase the mouse and build a trap around it, which is so weird. The mouse, I mean, the cat should just be tagging the mouse like we've seen with other games. You have a limited amount of time, or you have a limited amount of traps as the cat, and to be picked up. And so it ends the game, and I won. I beat the computer out. So awesome. Can I do a reset? Let's do a reset. And then if you go for a 2-player game, 2 players can go at the same time. Same concept, though. I'm already intrigued because it's not quite what I was expecting. If we do a different game mode, I'll show you how it changes up. And I'll just put C for my name. And then go against micro. Ah, true, Kun. That's why it's a little disturbing. You think it's going to be something like Tom and Jerry, and you actually see the cat devour the mouse. Awesome. All right, let's do skill level 2 this time. So starting off quick, catch the mouse. Don't let him get... Yeah, there we go. So the game has 7 different skill levels with less trap parts, and then the mouse and both the cat moving faster, higher the skill level. 8 possible variations. So we got a few options here. Now, I don't know if you saw on the box, it actually boasted it has 100 and something variations, and I love that, given multiple variations. So you can see how this is changing it a little bit, where we are having a few things to dodge. So in a way, it's still a top-down maze game, but not in the classic Pac-Man style top-down maze game. It's a little different. This is the 340th maze game that we've played on Chronologically Gaming, or arcade maze game. It's the 51st that we've seen on all home consoles up to this point, and it's the 9th one that we've seen on the Philips Video Pack or Magnavox Odyssey 2. This kind of game, which I guess not exactly like this, but Cat and Mouse has been around for a long time. 1972, we saw Cat and Mouse on the original Magnavox Odyssey. So at first I thought they were going to do an homage to that, but no, this is totally different. We also saw Cat and Mouse on the Channel F Fairchild home console. And then we saw Cat Tracks on the Arcadia 2001. Go, invincibility! Let's get some more. You can see the computer is now a little smarter than it was before. Maybe it won't glitch out. We also have seen Mousetrap on the Atari 2600 and ColecoVision up to this point. Oh, it's getting faster. And then the maze-style game, like looking down and playing the game like this, on the Magnavox Odyssey 2 and Philips Video Pack, we've seen Take the Money and Run. Casey Munchkin, of course, and Casey's Crazy Chase are really good. Oh, I am racking up the points. This is great. So I'm sure you could have more enjoyment if you were playing with someone else. What's also interesting is I consider this a grid capture style video game. It's the 25th that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming, and it's the 2nd we've seen on home consoles. The only other grid capture style game that we've seen was Commodore. That was for the Atari 2600. Interesting. When the mouse goes super in this game mode, the cat just sits there. The cat can't even move. Gosh, so much eating of mice in the game. This game's cartridge is on 4 kilopower. Same size as most of the Atari 2600 cartridges right now. And in a way, I would say this reminds me more of a game we played called Tank Trap for the Atari home computer and the Commodore VIC-20, more than other grid capture games like Kix or Commodore. There's also another one we played kind of similar with the grid capture element, which was Disco number 1 that we saw in the arcades. So I would say of all the games you could play right now on home consoles, this one's still around average, more surprising than I thought for the games up to this point. But for the games on just this system, just the Philips Video Pack and Magnavox Odyssey 2, this game, I would say, is way better than the more recent releases we've seen, like Popeye and Morse and the Great Wall Street Fortune Hunt. And I would still prefer Frogger on the Philips Video Pack on over this game, but it's still admirable, and it's not something exactly you'd expect. So yeah, of all the games you can play on all home consoles right now, looking over in the chat, I got Brad for the three star for Eating Rats. James is actually going up to 3.5. Most people are on average, though. I got lots of 3 stars that are out there, which is pretty average, and I agree. 3 stars is what I'm going to give the Mousing Cat for all the games you could play on home consoles right now. All right, let's see what our gaming takes us now. Our next video game is on the Sinclair ZX81. This is Muncher, and with a name like Muncher, you know what it is. Here's the box for Muncher. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's like a silver pinball in the shape of Pac-Man for the 16K ZX81. Not to be confused with Muncher we saw on the Commodore VIC-20, which was a shooter. This is a totally different Muncher. This is the 96th game we've seen on the Sinclair ZX81 or Timex Sinclair 1000. You flip the box over and, oh my gosh, it's an audio cassette. Just kidding. Don't plug this into your Walkman. There is no audio. Make sure it goes in your ZX81 only. This one's the 5th time we've seen Silversoft on the show, bringing us games like Super Wumpus on the ZX81, Orbiter, and Cyber Rats. Let's see the other artwork we have for Muncher. Besides the box, we have the inside sleeve. Muncher is a Pac-Man style maze race and chase game. I knew that was coming. You have to chomp your way around the maze eating dots and avoiding the ghosts. When you eat a flashing power pill, the ghosts turn to food and you can eat them, but only for a short time. And the play controls are A, W, D, and X. Just look down at your ZX81 keyboard and it'll all make sense. And then look, right up there, it tells us what else is available by Silversoft in 1982. And you can ignore the loading instructions. We can just go right in the game. Ready? Let's pop in Muncher and play. This is by Andrew Gleister, published by Silversoft in the beginning of December 1982. The third time we've seen Andrew Gleister. Way to go, Andrew. He did the game Invaders, Orbiter on the ZX Spectrum, and then we're going to see a lot more games that he's done later in this year. Way later, though, Andrew Gleister is going to do Beyond Shadowgate. He's going to be involved with Earthworm Jim Special Edition, Battle Arena Toshinden 2 on Windows, Mech Warrior, Mech Commando, and he is going to be the lead developer for Halo on the Mac. And I think he's still doing games now, so look him up. I think he just released a game last year, or was involved with a game last year. All right, everyone knows what we're going to be doing. We're going to be playing some Pac-Man. All right, everyone get your hands on the keyboard and go. Am I already in the game? I don't think I started yet, right? No, I didn't. Oh, did it already crash on me? I think it did. I've already had crashes on the system, and I think it's already gone. All right, there you go. After that giant fanfare, dun da da da, and then the game crashes on us. But it's going to crash again, trust me, because I haven't got consistent gameplay from Muncher on the ZX81. Until now, on the live show, everything will go smoothly. Okay, it's doing a demonstration. We push a key to go. Yep, there we go. Push the key. Okay, there we go. We got it. Welcome. This is Muncher, the only real Pac-Man game for the ZX81. Nope, we know there's a lot more than that. Here's a few vital... Oh, this is so cool. All right, so it explains everything's going to be in ASCII like it is for most ZX81 games. There's the monster running. We are represented by 4 characters? I guess every time we change different directions. Press A to alter something. Okay, let's change it up. Enter the speed. Let's do a game speed of 4. Which maze you want? You have 3 maze options. Let's go with game maze 1, and then we're in. So I'm in the center of the screen, represented by a carrot. The controls to move are A, D, W, and X. So it works as far as the directions go. Oh, I died. Darn. And you pick up all the dots. You can see it's working. It's functioning correctly. And I can go through the portal on the side. Yeah. It's only keyboard controlled though. You can see I'm avoiding power pellets because every time I've gotten a power pellet when I play the game crashes. So in a way, this is probably going to be considered a broken game, unless there's a hardcore Muncher fan out there that wants to explain what I've done wrong to get the game to load. At least I can play this much. So the main change in this game compared to the other ones is there's a booth in the middle where the enemies aren't coming out. The enemies aren't being generated from the center. The cage in the middle is where bonus points are. So instead of launching ghosts from the center, you have to pick up a key and open it up and grab the fruit inside. And as always, you have to avoid the ghosts and collect the dots with power pills available as you make the ghosts edible for bonus points and buy some time. This one is another arcade maze game, the 341st that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, the 189th that we've seen on all home computers so far, and this is the 9th arcade maze game that we've seen on the ZX81. So sorry, Mr. Glacier, this is not the very first, Andrew. We've seen lots of maze games. This is the 146th Pac-Man variant that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. All maze games so far on the ZX81 have been Pac-Man clones, except Sabotage. We played the game of Puckman, we've played Monster Mine, Zuckman, Gobbleman, Ghost Hunt, Maze Man, and the really amazing Gulp Man on the ZX81. That's how many games are out there that are like Pac-Man that we've already seen on Chronologically Gaming. I'm still avoiding power pellets because it's going to crash on me. I like how that has difficulty levels and the keyboard controls are a little off. But ready? I'm going to go pick up my power pel and done. And there. Yes, Kun, I forgot to give fealty to Lord Clive of Sinclair. I do like the title screen, the presentation. You can tell they put a lot of time in this, but notice that when I pick up the power pellet, something's wrong. And I've tried this on 3 different tapes, 3 different examples, and I've tried it on 2 different emulators, and I still get the same results. So if there's a hardcore Muncher fan out there, you can tell me what I've done wrong, but I'm going to have to give Muncher on the ZX81 a, is it broken for everybody? I'm going to say it's broken for me, so we're going to give it a 1-star rating. For all the games you can play on all home computers, there is better Pac-Man on this computer and lots of better Pac-Man on other computers. I mean, Gulpman already is like the top tier Pac-Man game that you could play on this computer if you wanted to only compare this one. So looking over in the chat, I have much more people kind. Paul is actually low like me, 0 to 1. Just because it broke for me, may not broke for everybody else. Ben Mtisky saying 1, but some people are still saying bad, 1.5 stars at best, because it's compared against all other games on all other home computers. That's a lot out there. All right, so after that, we also have Muncher on the ZX Spectrum. There's more to munch. Is there going to be color? Is there going to be sound? Let's find out. Here's the box for Muncher. It looks exactly the same, except now it just says it's for the Spectrum. This is the 152nd game we've seen for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. And remember, the computer just came out this year. We've already seen 152 games. That's a lot of games. This is the 6th game by Silversoft, bringing us games like Cyber Rats. And we flip it over, and do we have it? No, we don't have it back. Oh, man, but they did include the Rainbow of the ZX Spectrum, already making me want to play it more. Do we have any other artwork for Muncher on the ZX Spectrum? We have the cassette tape, Silversoft blazing on the front. Oh, look at the date. See, we got a later date there for 1983. And I even have been told this was early 1983 when this one released. We're going to put them all together, though. For the manual, all I got is one that was typed up. Muncher is a Pac-Man style maze race and chase game, high-res color graphics. It's the same thing we saw on the inside sleeve, but look at the controls. They changed them up. We got ZX, M, and K. ZX, M, and K, different than we saw on the ZX81. It is the same cover of Muncher, but it's actually a different Muncher. I have different versions, including a re-release by Forward. Let's play the first, Muncher, by W.J. Murray, published by Silversoft in the beginning of December 1982. All right, so it already looks way different. This is the first and only game by W.J. Murray, and this one is just like the other one, single player only, and it's very bizarre, though, that the company Silversoft has the same game Muncher, the same box for Muncher, but it's developed by 2 totally different people. So it's an interesting case of we have 2 different games by the same company with the same name. Not really the first time that's happened, but it's still very rare. All right, so I want to go in, and we're going to push S to start. I got to get on ZX, and what was it again? ZX and K and M. I'm going to die before I even get there, though, right? ZX, K, and M. It works, though. So keyboard controls only, and you might be able to work out a cursor joystick for the controls to move around. What is going on, though? I'm playing as a face? At least, oh, the power pellet works. I don't freeze. The generators for the ghosts are coming from the sides. Oh, and it just ran out. So the center of the screen where you see the cherries, or what we also saw on the ZX81, to get that, you have to find the key. How do you find the key? You just have to wander the maze until it opens. Oh, there it is. One of the dots is the key, which, that was unfair. The ghosts were going where the fruit was, so it wasn't able to help me out. So if you're wondering if this includes other mazes, it actually does not. Go to the other side. I cleared the whole board, and it was so close to the first maze that I'm considering it the same. You know, someone may notice that it's a slightly different maze, but you get the idea. This one's the 342nd arcade maze game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. The 190th that we've seen on all home computers so far. And it's the 16th arcade maze game we've seen, get the cherries, yes, on the ZX Spectrum. We've already seen 16 arcade maze games on the ZX Spectrum alone. This marks the 147th Pac-Man variant that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. Well, that's really unfair how the enemies are generating out the sides. immediately after that. So this one did not have any way to change the speed, difficulty level, and it doesn't have a way to switch mazes. You know how we got the example in the other Muncher, because it's made by a completely different developer. But it's Pac-Man. It's another Pac-Man. We're just racking up all these Pac-Mans that are out there. And this one actually is not too bad. For all the games that you could play, there's worse ones that you could play out there. Not by much. Uh-oh, is it all our lives? I wanted to clear the whole board. It is. We have 3 dots left. Right now, in order of best to worst for the arcade maze games on the ZX Spectrum, I would still say the best right now is Hungry Horse. It's still very, very good. A game called Star Warrior that we played had an arcade maze screen, but it also was a shoot 'em up. And then Gulpman is available on the ZX Spectrum. We also played a game called Spectres. Bubble Trouble is another one. Escape is an arcade maze game. Monster Mine, and I would say Muncher falls somewhere around this area, like if you're thinking of an order of best to worst arcade games. Worse than this game that we've seen on the ZX Spectrum have been Crabs. Everyone hates Crabs. Car Chase is another one. Spec-Man, Gobbler, the Pac-Man Trail, Sea Key, and in the worst of the worst, Hell Drivers, when you think of all the arcade maze games that are out there. Still fascinating that there's 2 totally different games, the same name, but the same company. So for all the games you could play up to this point, I still say it's around the average range. I wouldn't call this bad for all the games you could play. Obviously, if you have only the ZX Spectrum, you'd be rating this a lot higher for all the games that you could play on home computers. But because we've seen everything, I'm going to go 2.5. And hey, looking over in the chat, I see most people with averages. 2.5 to 3 from Paul. James is saying 2.5. Charlie's saying 3. And see, I'm seeing mostly averages. Brad's saying 2.5 and Marshall's saying 2.5. Yeah, if it had a joystick option, and I think you could finagle a cursor joystick for it, but it's made right now for only keyboard. So I'm going to go 2.5 stars for Muncher. All right, now, where are we going to go, and what's the next game? We're going back to the Commodore 64. This is Nellen is Thirsty. I'm so confused, so let me school you. Here's the box for Nellen is Thirsty. Just kidding, it's not a real box. Oh, here's the box for Nellen is Thirsty. Just kidding, that's not a real box either. There's no real box that I could find for this one. This was originally created by Furman H. Smith and published as a type-in game for the TRS-80 and machines such as the Heath H-89 in July and August the 1980 issue of Recreational Computing magazine. The game was presented as part of Dr. Smith's article, Write Your Own Computer Fantasy Simulation. Nellen is Thirsty, the one we're about to play, is an adaptation of a standard Enchanted House framework game. As the article explains, the Nellen is Thirsty version of the Enchanted House computerized fantasy simulation, which they used to call them CFSs. I've never heard of that one, is intended for children to play. The program Enchanted House is general and was designed for easy modification. The present article describes the program and gives ways of making simple modifications. A later article will go into more major changes. Right now, if you go to Internet Archive, you can hold a copy of the page where the author is posting the retrospective on this game and the articles. So essentially, Nellen is Thirsty is made from kind of a adventure game creator or an educational adventure game creator. And this it exists in lots of other versions, unofficial versions that were ripping this off. Nellen is Thirsty is the very first version of Nellen is Thirsty that we've seen so far. We didn't see the type-in game because we don't see every type-in game that's available out there. This one's a real release, though. This is real. We're going to play real Nellen is Thirsty. I don't know if this box is the real box. This is the closest box that, or looks more legit than the other fabrications, so it might be real. Stephen C. Darnold. Way to go, Steven. The very first time we've seen him on the show. He's the one that's doing this port, not the original author from the type-in game. And there it is, another box that I can't find for real. So not a lot of information on this one. We're in scary territory here. Let's pop in that cassette and play Nellen is Thirsty. This version is the beginning of December 1982. Originally, you typed it in 1980. I'm ready. At least I don't know if I'm ready or not, but let's find out. This one marks the 41st game we played on the Commodore 64. It's the 5th time that we've seen the Guild Adventure software. They did Kadath, Grungy Towers, Picture Kingdom, Circle World. All these games have been on the Commodore PET. Recreational Computing, it's the 2nd time we've seen them after the Wizard's Castle, which was another type-in game. So I don't have the instructions in the game, and you notice we didn't have a manual to read, but I'll give you a general backstory. The banker, Mr. Klingcoin, has misplaced 4 treasures throughout his 9-room house, and he's called upon you to locate and return them. Nellen, the cat, in the meantime, is thirsty and would be thrilled if you were to bring her a big bowl full of cool milk. Relying on the assistance of a magic map and the friendly denizens of the house, you have to type in instructions intending to fulfill the goals in this self-stated game of Let's Pretend, all within 72 scoots, an internal time limit. This game is intended for kids or early childhood. It is the 37th video game we've played that doesn't match my demographic. Maybe I should bring in some kids to rate the games to have their impressions of which ones are good or not, so I'll do my best from where I am. At this point, we've played some pretty good early childhood games, though, like Kid Venture on the Apple II, the Electric Company games that we saw on the Intellivision. Sticky Bear was another series of games we've seen. We've also seen Snooper Troops, Gore-Tech and the Microchips, and Bumble Plot. We've also seen Bop-A-Bet and Dragon's Keep by Al Lowe, but for my money, the best kids educational game or games geared for early childhood is Rocky's Boots. That's available for the Atari home computer, or I'm sorry, for Apple II. It's really, really good. Also, did you notice when we started the game, it said it was from New Zealand? This is the 4th game we've seen that is originating from New Zealand, because we played 3 of them on a very obscure computer called the Amber Pegasus so far. All right, you ready? Let's pretend we're in an enchanted house. We're going to be playing a kids text adventure game, so flip the switch and be in early childhood mode. If you have a question, you can type help, which is nice. Now, this is very, very interesting. Are you the only person playing? What in the world is it talking about? Every adventure game always is one player. Why is it asking how many people playing? I'm going to say no, just because I'm curious. How many will be playing? This is the very first text adventure game that's ever asked us this. And this is the 232nd text adventure game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. And I mean text only. We have seen video games or text adventure games that include pictures or graphics, splattered on the screen. This is text only. So after 232 text only games, this is the very first one to say, do you want more people to play? We've never seen that. And how many people can you play? You can play with 5 people. Let's do it. What's your name? I'll be Chrono. The name of player 2 is the last person in chat. Charlie is here. Name of player 3 is Kun. He was next. Marshall is up next. And Brad is there. And I think that's all 5. Okay, so we're in a room called the Bank. A giant carpet's on the floor that says, Welcome, Chrono. A screen says that your visit will last for 72 scoots. 2 scoots have passed. To leave this room, type go north. The banker, Mr. Klingcoin, looks sleepy. There's a magic map here. If you take the map, you can consult it. I will take map. Okay, you're carrying the map. Mr. Klingcoin looks busy. What are you going to do now? Let's say help. What does it actually say? Wow, it actually is very helpful. Again, how early could you play this? Could a 4-year-old play this? Is that too early? Could a 3-year-old, 5-year-old? What would actually hold their attention? Because even though they're being very helpful, I don't know how well it would work. What to do? It says try things. Try things. It doesn't understand that. I didn't think so. Okay, let's go north. No, not go north. Oh. The color change. You're in the white room. Yes, we are. The walls are white. Oh, see, there you go. They color code the rooms to help us remember where we are. There's a wall to the west. The bank is through the south doorway. What did it say I could do for map? Can I? Help. Consult map. Consult map. You're in the white room now. Whoa, does it actually have a... It does. It is... not technically an auto-generated map, but you can see that they're actually giving you graphics to show you the map. That's really cool for a text adventure game. What are you going to do now? Let's go east. The walls in this room are painted gold. Yes, they are. They changed the color for us. There's exits to the north, east, and west. What's your decision? Go east. Oh, it's hot in here. You're in the hot room. If cold milk were in the room, it would be warmed. The map shows the doorways. On the floor is a coupon. It says the coupon that if it's dropped in the store while the machine's working, you'll receive 1 blue bowl. What? Get coupon. Okay, we're carrying the coupon. What now? Oh, I can keep going. Go east. Can I keep going east? No, you can't go. Go north. Oh. Consult the map. Which, by the way, we've played adventure games that allow you to see. There's one we played called Dr. Goodcode's Cavern that had a little mini map in the corner. But this one's pretty cool that it's actually going to a map, showing the map. Oh, we're stuck in the hot room. Maybe we can go south. Let's see. We're in a room where Nellen lives. This is the cat room. Nellen the cat's here, as big as an elephant. What? Why is the cat big as an elephant? In a soft-plied voice, she says, I'd love to have some nice cold milk. Many of my friends have tried to deliver cold milk here, and many have failed. And again, this may have been in classrooms, so maybe kids were challenging themselves. Who can finish the game first? And it will not be easy. Oh, really, Nellen? We'll see about that. Go west. Oh, now it's Charlie's turn. Wait, what? That means in the middle of the game, it just says, nope, you got a hot seat. Switch to the other person that's playing. Charlie starts in the green room with green walls. There's a green chair in the corner, and a heavy coin is here. Can we get the coin? Congratulations, Charlie. You'll earn points when the coin's deposited in the bank. This means, is every player starting in a different place? Consult map. Wait a second. That means with 5 people playing, are we all sharing the same map? Are we on the same quest? Or is it, I thought this was competitive, but maybe it's more cooperative if we're all able to share and see this. I'm very confused. All right, let's go east. We should see Nellen here. Yep. So Nellen's here. So maybe we can pick up things, but I don't know if we can see the other person. If we're here, does it say that Chrono is in the room at the same time? Let's see, Charlie would live. Okay. It doesn't say that. Let's look. I want to know if my character's in the same room with Nellen, but I don't think so. So maybe we are playing 2 different games. We just happen to see the same map. Very strange. This is also in the first time we've seen a game do color coding with text adventure games. It's been kind of nice. We've seen a few on the Atari home computer that have done it as well. I mean, that's a lot. We played a lot of text adventure games, but this is interesting with the multiplayer aspect. We've never seen a video game that's doing a text game multiplayer. Now, obviously, if you had mainframe or terminal games and you were in college, you could play multi-user dungeons, and some of those were text only where you're playing with multiple people. We haven't seen and played those on the show, but it's possible. You could play those. All right, what are you going to do now? Consult the map. 5 players is insane. I can't believe that. This game is also taking place in a fantasy world, which is kind of cool. It's like inspiration for, we're going to be finding a white rabbit, and they take some tropes from Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland a little bit here and there. I mean, you're going to find like an egg in the game, and you need to find a jewel. You pick up the coin, and then the vase, and when you find all the objects, then the game wins. So I'm already really intrigued and having a lot of fun playing Nellen is Thirsty. For a kid's educational game, I actually want to see more, but when I've looked up online for the solution, the game is fairly simple if you know what to do. So if you played long enough and explored all the rooms, you'd get the gist and be able to solve it pretty quick. So there you go. The backstory of Nellen is Thirsty, and the first version, apparently, that we've ever seen and possible to play. Of all the games you could play on all home computers, I'm actually pleasantly surprised because of all those text adventure games, this is doing something that we aren't used to experiencing. The difficulty isn't really there, though. Charlie, good point. Bringing up Maniac Mansion. We're going to see that a lot later on the Commodore 64, being able to do an adventure game switching between players, but I couldn't confirm playing Nellen is Thirsty if this is where we're able to see the other players or work together on the solution. I think it's getting to the end, whoever can get all the objects at the same time. But you can't really interact with the other characters that you're playing with. Still, I love it. I actually think this is an above average game. For all the games you could play on home computers, doing something like this that's different is awesome. It's also got great presentation. It's actually easy to play and works really well, especially for all those cryptic adventure games we play, or the puzzles that are insane. I'm actually going to go 3.5 stars for all the games on all home computers. Way to go, Nellen. You're still thirsty, but I want to keep playing and find your milk and give it to you. However that's going to work. All right, now we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks so much, everyone that's here for the live show. All the comments are so helpful. Everyone that's here rating all the games, give me a thumbs up. Tell me you like the show. Be sure to tell me if there's any games that we've missed. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we got a pair of new games for the TRS-80. More games on the ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, and Arcadia 2001, and we're having a nightmare on the Atari home computer. That's it for today, and like I always say, I've gone too far. Someone come and pull me out of December 1982. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.